if men are optimized, what's your experience concerning their total and free T levels on which they feel good with all symptoms gone?
So this is something that differs for everybody. So as I go through that process where we're evaluating people every 3 months, eventually, yes, we do get to a point where your body composition is ideal for longevity. Okay, what is that? It's usually for men a percent body fat, 15 to 20%. It's higher if they have heart disease. If they're totally healthy, maybe like 12 to 15%. There's some evidence that's the best. Okay. And then skeletal muscle, we want to be good. You know, there's no exact target. We want it to be definitely above normal, not low. Right. Okay. So, and that's going to differ for everybody based on their, you know, height, weight, genetics, things like that. So what do I do when all that body composition stuff is perfect? Well, what we try to target is a testosterone trough level of around 1,000. We do not use free testosterone targets. Why? Because the very limited long-term epidemiology is all using total testosterone levels, not free testosterone levels. And free testosterone levels are very useful for people who are not on testosterone, like determining, for example, when you put someone on TRT very early, their change in free testosterone is more predictive of better symptomatic improvement than their total testosterone level. Okay, so that is true, but that's on a short time scale. And then the other studies are looking at free testosterone in people who aren't diagnosed. So people who have normal total testosterone but low free testosterone, those patients can still benefit from TRT. So it's important to know that. When you've been on TRT for several years, your free testosterone, I don't think, is nearly as relevant at this current moment with the current evidence and studies that we have right now. So someone who's been on testosterone for 3 years, who I've helped get from 40% body fat down to maybe like 18, 20%, okay, I'm not as worried about what their trough free testosterone level is as what their total testosterone level is. And the general target is about around 1,000, around 1,000. Okay. Now, the important thing to say, though, is that is not possible in most men. It's not possible to maintain adequate body composition and while also, of course, we want to limit side effects. Like we don't want, you know, if people are having side effects, we don't push their dose higher like right away. So assuming all that stuff is okay, some men have to tolerate higher levels just to maintain their body composition. And I found that what happens is I'll get a guy, okay, we've reached your body composition goals. You're on a low dose of a GLP-1 or maybe off the semaglutide or tirzepatide completely. But your total is like 1,400, let's say. Let's decrease the dose by 5 to 10%. Then 3 months later, everything again, all your labs, body composition. Now, when I do that the first time, they may come back in their levels 1,250 or something, but their body composition stayed good and they feel good. They don't feel any worse. Okay, let's try another 5 or 10%. Okay, 3 months later, everything is still good. They feel pretty good. And now we're maybe at 1,100. I have found with a lot of experience, if I try to do a third 10% reduction, more than 50% of the time, I'm going to cause problems. Their body composition is going to go the other way. They're going to start feeling not as good. I'm going to cause issues. So I just don't usually do it after 2. Okay. In patients that are really concerned about wanting to get to 1,000, which the vast majority aren't. But in ones who are, okay, then yeah, we'll cut again. The problem is once long term, once you go down and you start to feel worse and your body composition starts to worsen, a lot of times if I go back to your old dose, that won't even fully work. And I don't know if that's a mental effect or a drug effect. It's probably a combination of both. So yes, I try to target a total level of around 1,000. That's a trough level. So that'd be the day that you inject before you inject. So let's say you're injecting every 4 days. Okay, it'd be on the 4th day at the time you'd inject before you inject. That's what we look for. And like I said, and based on how frequently some people inject, it's also not possible even to get to that level. But, everybody is different. And a lot of it is also a risk tolerance thing. There are some guys in their 60s, and I'm like, your total testosterone level is 1,300. We don't know that that's safe. It could shorten your life. Maybe it's associated with heart attack, strokes 5-10 years in the future. I don't give a shit. I feel good. Just leave everything alone, please. For the love, just please leave everything alone. That's different than a guy who's 32, okay, who has hopefully many, many decades in front of him. We want to be more cautious, right? Because we don't technically have super long-term safety studies on TRT the way most people administer TRT.
One remark on your 1000 total testosterone in the chat box. What about people with high SHBG? Simon says, I got on TRT when my total testosterone was 1200.
Like he started TRT when his total testosterone was 1200?
That's what he says, but he says when people have a very high SHBG, you can
Yeah.
get the free T will be low.
Yes. So when I say everybody, that's why I said everybody's different. There are certain people with congenitally very high SHBG. What should happen is when they get androgens, it should lower their SHBG. 90% of the time it does, especially with like synthetic. Well, I guess testosterone's a synthetic androgen technically, but non-testosterone androgens, including many orals, will usually very potently lower your SHBG. That doesn't happen to everybody. And so, yeah, some patients have to have doses that are higher because their SHBG is higher, and that's the way it is. And I'm not sure if there was a question in what he said, but yeah, it's not like a strict thing like I was explaining. It's a very highly individualistic thing. Okay. I have a physician patient right now, for example. His total testosterone level is higher than 1,000. I'll just put it to you like that. His SHBG is very high. He's like, it is what it is. If you lower the dose, I feel terrible. So I guess we got to stay at this one. His doses still would be considered a TRT dose, but it's higher than the majority of patients. But that's an example of a doctor with, so yeah, everybody's has to be treated differently. For me, unlike a lot of TRT clinics, I'm not like, how do you feel? Do you feel better today than the day you came in when we had this dose? I care a lot more about body composition. I do care about people's sex drive, libido, especially if those things are getting worse, but and work-related performance. I ask and I care about all those things, side effects, blood pressure, but body composition to me is where a lot of the money's at, because that's what's really going to move the needle for somebody. Okay. Giving somebody these lower doses of testosterone for years and, maybe I feel a little bit better, but their body composition doesn't change. You're not doing much for them medically. I mean, that's like I told you, I had that guy, he started testosterone, body fat 35%. Now it's 37. Now, maybe it would have been much higher had he not been on testosterone. Almost guaranteed it would have. But you got to be a little bit more aggressive than that. We live in an environment that poisons us constantly in many, many ways. This is going to be what my second book is about, environmental endocrine disrupting chemicals. The biggest one is our light environment that we live in causes circadian rhythm disruption. So it's unavoidable for men in our society to avoid things that tend to not only lower their testosterone levels, but promote metabolic disease in general. And you can see that just in the, statistics, right? We used to have in this country a childhood obesity rate of less than 1%. Now it's about 20%. Okay. 5% of adults in the US had high blood pressure. Now it's like 50%, 120 million people. Okay. And then if you look at like just diabetes used to be 1%. Now it's like close to 15%. And 40% of people have what's called pre-diabetes. So in the span of 100 years, our society has gotten significantly sicker than what we were. Yeah. Do we have worse medical care today than we did 100 years ago? No, we have all this fancy technology. We have all these drugs. We have a variety of novel weight loss drugs and things like that. But the problem has slowly, not even slowly, the problem has pretty rapidly gotten much, much worse. And it's the environmental issues causing or promoting the metabolic syndrome. And then the testosterone issue is downstream of all the metabolic issues. The good thing is, it looks like from many recent studies that testosterone can help reverse a lot of the metabolic dysfunction that men are living under, and pretty safely, but with a lot of long-term unknowns.